If you can't manage £100, how are you meant to manage £100,000? Let that sink in, because that hit home differently. I don't even remember where I heard this, but I just remember the moment I heard it, I realized I need to change something with the way I deal with my money. And I think all of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, they are essential things that we should all know, we should all be taught in school. I don't know why we don't get taught these things in school. I have very, very strong opinions about that, but we're not going to talk about that now. That is a subject for a different day. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that I've learned myself throughout the years about managing my money, and things that I honestly wish I knew when I was 18, because I would have been somewhere very, very different right now financially. So yeah, let's dive into the video. So first of all, I have learned that credit cards are not bad. You're just using them wrong. I feel like a lot of us get this idea of like credit cards being bad. We associate them with debt. And I think this comes from beliefs that were kind of built into us from a young age. Because with me personally, every time I hear credit cards, I just associate it with my parents stressing that they need to pay their credit card bill. Or even in movies, sometimes if you see someone talking about credit cards, they would be talking about how stressed they are, that they need to, you know, pay their credit card bill or whatever. So I feel like a lot of us associate with debt and just stay away from credit cards, but that is not the case. Honestly, I've done a bit of research into this, and I've learned that credit cards are actually quite good and handy, but you need to know how to use them right. So we're not talking about the usual, you know, credit cards where it's money that you don't actually have and you use the credit card to buy something that you can't actually afford, and then you obviously get into debt, you have to pay it back. So we're not talking about that. There are credit cards that are reward-based credit cards. So with these credit cards, you basically get rewards. So for every £1 you spend, you get 1 point of reward point. Well, for most of them anyway. Obviously, different companies have different rates and stuff like that. But for the one I use, which is American Express, you get 1 point per every £1 that you spend. And these points you can actually use for different things. You can get discount on flights, for example, or you can even get free flights in some cases. You can upgrade your flight to like business class. There are obviously other rewards as well. I'm just mainly talking about Air Points here because that's the credit card that I have. So you just need to know how to use this right. You're not going to use the credit card to pay for something that you can't afford. Let's get that straight. So the way to use these credit cards is you want to basically do your shopping, you know, your monthly spending on this credit card, and then pay it all in full with the money that you have in your account. So with me, I have a budget for the month, which I keep in my current account, but I don't actually spend the money from the current account. I spend it from my credit card, and then at the end of the month, I pay it all off in one go. This is because with these credit cards that offer you rewards, they offer you rewards for a reason. They have very, very high interest rates, very high charges and things like that. So it's not really good to have one of these if you can't pay it in one go on a monthly basis. And it's not good to withdraw money, so cash withdrawals and things like that. So you basically need to learn how to use them to your advantage. Instead of you paying interest monthly and losing money, once again, you're not spending money that you don't have. I can't stress this enough. You need to spend as much as you can afford on them. Don't go over the limit, because if you go over and you get yourself into debt with those, you're going to lose on so much money and the rewards are not even worth it. But if you use them correctly and do what I do, then you are going to get a lot of rewards out of that. So like I said, I use American Express, but there are so many other providers, especially if you're someone that travels and likes traveling. Honestly, I think it's really worth it. So definitely check that out and do a little bit of research into that. Okay, so second thing kind of links into the whole credit card situation. Basically, don't spend money that you don't actually have. So when I say this, I mean loans, overdrafts. This is a hard lesson that I had to learn myself. And I honestly regret getting into that debt so badly because I'm still paying some of it off now till this day. And I got into debt when I was like 18 probably, or 19. So definitely not worth it. Honestly, you are going to pay so many charges that you don't realize, and it will be so hard for you to get out of those debts because you're going to keep on paying more and more every month because obviously interest accumulates and you're going to just lose so much money. It is all fun and games when you see £1,000 come through when you apply for a loan, but when that £1,000 goes and you need to pay it back with interest on top of it, honestly, it's not fun anymore. And I highly recommend staying away from those. I got 2 overdrafts when I was about 19. I had a period in my life where I was very broke and I needed money. I wanted to live my best life. So I thought, if I can get approved for an overdraft, I can go out more, I can travel, I can do all of this. And yes, I got the overdraft, but like I said, I'm still, till this day, paying some of it off. So it's not all fun and games. Stay away from those. If you can't afford it, just don't buy it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like this is honestly one of those things that they should definitely teach you in school, because a lot of us don't realize the consequences having an overdraft or applying for a loan can have. I kind of feel like even with car finance, for example, if you can't afford a car, don't get the car. There's obviously exceptions with emergencies and things like that, which fair enough. If you do need to get into the debt, then you have to, right? Like, it is what it is. But if it's for something very silly, like going out with your friends or buying a new bag or whatever it is, don't get yourself into the debt. It's honestly not worth it. And I wish someone would have sat me down and told me this as soon as I had the idea to apply for those overdrafts, because it would have saved me so much money. So tip number 3 is don't leave your money to rot in a current account. This is something that I see a lot of people do. I work for a bank and it's actually insane how many people do this. I see so many people with a lot of money, I must add, that do this wrong. So the reason you shouldn't keep your money in a current account is, first of all, safety purposes, because when it comes to fraud and things like that, it is so much easier for people to just spend money from your current account. Say you lose your card, for example. If someone takes your card and starts using it, they can use a lot of your money from your account by just tapping the card. It is that easy to lose your money. And I'm not even going to get into like all the fraud things that happen, because I once again work for a bank and I deal with fraud prevention a lot. And I see so many people get defrauded. And it's so much easier for fraudsters to actually get your money from a current account. It is ridiculous how people don't actually realize this. And second of all, which is probably the most obvious thing, but once again, people don't actually see this, is your money will just lose its value in your current account. With inflation, that money will not have the same value in 10 years as it does now. So if you have £10,000 saved up and it's just sitting in your current account, that money in 10 years will lose its value completely and it will be worth so much less. So what you need to do, and I urge you to do this right now, if you don't actually have a savings account, open a savings account. Put that money into a savings account where it can accumulate interest just by sitting there. But the thing is, with savings accounts, don't open a savings account with your usual high street bank, because the interest you get on those savings accounts are so low, so it's not worth it. What I urge you to do is look online for high interest savings accounts. A lot of online banks do very high interest savings accounts. For example, I have a Monzo account and I stand by Monzo so much. They are honestly the best bank I have banked with, and I've had multiple accounts throughout my life. Monzo are so good when it comes to savings accounts. I just want to say though, I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, so definitely do your own research when it comes to this, but I'm just talking from my own experience. This is just something that I've sort of learned by doing my own research. So with Monzo, they pay you monthly. So you keep the money in the savings account, and obviously every month they put the money into the savings account that they owe you from interest. Now, with the savings account that I have, it is an easy access. It's not an instant access savings account. So with instant access savings accounts, you can take your money out straight away. Whereas with the one that I have, it takes until the next business day to come through at 5 p.m. So that is actually really helpful when it comes to saving money, because it helps me save so much better and it helps me not touch my money. When I get the impulse to buy something that I can't afford with the money that I have sitting in my current account, I don't actually do it, because it's so long having to wait, obviously, until the next day for the money to come out of your savings account. So it puts you off from like spending unnecessarily. And when it comes to things that I need money for in emergencies, I can always use my credit card, or, I don't touch my savings. So it's really good from that perspective. It will help you save so much better, just not being able to access your funds straight away. And it has definitely had a really, really good impact on my finances and the way I save. So my money is just sitting pretty in my savings account, just accumulating interest and making me money instead of me wasting it and losing money. So I highly recommend checking out Monzo. I just want to put it out there. Obviously, this video is not sponsored in any way by Monzo. I'm just obsessed with them because they are so good as a bank. I just had to mention that. Don't know if I needed to. Of course, Monzo wouldn't sponsor me at this point, but I just wanted to put that out there. They are a really good bank and I highly recommend them. So yeah, if you are looking for a bank account, easy to operate, they have so many other benefits as well. For example, when you spend with Monzo, you get a report every month on what you're spending, so you can see exactly what you spend your money on monthly, where you can maybe cut costs. So for example, if you see that you spend too much money on food, which I do, unfortunately, it's easier for you to know where to cut things down and where to hold back when you have that in front of you. I'm actually quite excited for my report monthly, because I like to look at it and see that I did better this month than last month. So it's kind of like a competition between me and my past self. And there's many more banks, but obviously I'm just recommending Monzo because it is the bank that I use and I really, really do love them. I've never had any issues with them. Now, my last rich girl tip, and probably my favorite one, is make your money work for you. So what I mean by this is investing. This is something that I'm still learning about, so I'm not going to be able to give you too much information about this because, of course, I don't have that much knowledge into it. It is quite new to me as well. But basically, with investing, it is so much easier than what you'd think. I feel like a lot of people get put off by investing. When you hear investing, you think of like day traders, you just like sitting down, watching graphs the whole day and, stressing over it. And I feel like a lot of people associate investing with like the Wolf of Wall Street as well. Like you have that image in your head of like all these men at a desk just, investing, which is really not the case. It's so much easier. So you put your money into a percentage of that company, to a small share of that company. And if the company does well, its value will go up, of course, so the money that you put in will go up also. There are so many apps that you can use now to invest, and you can invest as little as £1. So we live in a day and age where investing is definitely so accessible for everyone and is honestly so easy. You can find so many videos on how to invest. You can learn about it very easily as well. I use Trading 212 for like small investments, but I also have an investment fund that I put money into. So with funds, it's more of a safer investment. For example, I put money into an index fund, the S&P 500 index fund with Vanguard. So what this means is instead of you putting money into one company specifically, you basically put money into a fund that has many different companies in there. So with the S&P 500 fund that I put money into, that's basically the top 500 companies in the USA. And say you're investing £100, instead of investing the whole £100 in one company, and if it goes bad, you lose basically all your money, you put the £100 and you spread it across all 500 companies. So if one of them does bad, it kind of balances out with the other ones. So you are less likely to lose money. There's obviously a risk. There's always going to be a risk with investing, but it's about minimizing that risk. So when you invest in a fund as opposed to one company, you're kind of lowering that risk a little bit. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this. I'm still learning and I still have so much more to learn. But this might be something that you guys would like to look into. I would definitely recommend looking into it and doing a bit of research. It's honestly so incredibly simple once you do hear it from someone that can explain it well. I do recommend listening to the podcast Girls That Invest. That is kind of how I got introduced to it. I listened to the podcast on Spotify, but I suppose they would do on Apple Music. Have a look for it. See if it's there. If it's there, I highly recommend listening to it. Once you listen to them break it down, it's so easy to understand investing. And if you do want to hear even more about it, I am going to leave a few videos linked down below that have helped me. So if you do want to have a look at those links that I'm going to link down below, and they might be useful for you guys as well. This is pretty much it with today's video, guys. I hope you found these tips useful. If you like this video, make sure to watch this as well. I will leave that linked down below. And if you do have any requests, anything you'd like me to talk about specifically, leave that down in the comments and I will do my best to do that. Also, please hit that subscribe button if you like this content. It will help me so much, and make sure to give this video a like, and I will see you guys in my next one.